Hello everyone, my name is Elijah Bull. Today I will be showing you how I made the previous project I showed you in the last video. I made this here in Studio 5000. So there's a lot going on the screen here, but as you can see on the bottom where it says I/O configuration, I have two input and output modules added to the backplane of my PLC here. And then I have two servo drives, the linear and rotary servo drive, added to the PLC through Ethernet. So this is how the connection all works, and you'll see here in the project why my motor is able to move when I use some ladder logic. So the first thing I want to look at is obviously the path. So if I go to Who Active here, Communications Who Active, you can see that I have established a connection to my PLC here. So this is the Ethernet of my PLC, and then the Ethernet IP addresses of the two servo drives, the linear and the rotary. So I established connection through Who Active in order to get this project going. So first thing we're going to do is go ahead and look at these controller tags, which are very important. We're going to scroll all the way down to where you see these local tags. You see where it says local 1i. This is the input module that I've added here. So whenever you add this input module, this automatically is put in as a controller tag. Go ahead and click the side here, the down arrow, you see connection failed diagnostic. But if I go to local 1i.00, I down click that, you can see that each slot on your module has its own tag here. So right now my photoelectric sensor is plugged directly into this 00 data slot. So I'll show you what it looks like whenever I put my hand in front of the laser in this tag specifically, and this is going to help you understand why every time something goes in front of the laser, you can see movement through the motor, and this is how the motor pushes the boxes off the table. So you see here I've actually put my project into run mode, so I should see every time that I put my hand in front of the laser, I should see this 0.00 go from the 0.00 data go from 0 to 1. 1 is being in the high state, 0 is being in the low state. So basically what that means is when it's at 1, it means it's seeing true. The program is seeing true, Studio 5000, and when it's 0, the program is seeing false. So if I go over here, I put my hand in front of the laser, boom, you can see it go to 1, take my hand away, it's 0, put my hand in front again, you're getting 1, and again, took my hand away, you get 0. So this confirms that I've connected my photoelectric sensor right to the 00 slot, because you can see obviously the data is going from the false state to the true state, and this is going to help you understand how I got this to work. Okay, so next we're going to go to our add-ons, talk a little bit more about our add-ons. These add-ons have been added. These are Linmot LX files. So if I go to add-on instructions, you'll see a bunch of them. Got some right here. Even if I go down here, go to Linmot, you got a little bit of them down here. So basically these are add-on instructions that are built in, that help movement. I've used these in other projects, but the only one I've used in our project now is the start table command. Command tables are really useful when you want to create consistent movement over and over. But for me, it's most useful when I want to make the motor move back and forth really quick, and then continue to do that same exact motion over and over. So I'll show you a little bit about what that looks like in a second. So go over here, boom. I'm going to go back up to my main task. Okay, I'm going to close this out. Go to main program. I'm going to go to main routine. So as you can see here, I have a lot of stuff going on. This is the read and writing add-on instructions. I have the driver status, both Linmot add-ons. As you can see here, this is moving because there's a little bit of uncertainty in where the linear motor is exactly. But as you can see, it's about 0. And then same thing for the rotary motor. you're not actually getting 0 exactly. It's a little bit of an uncertainty here on where the position is. Obviously, I have the switch on and switch off, and I'll show you that what it looks like in Linmont. And then I also have a slot where I can home my devices, so bringing them back to the factory settings they need to be in order to get this motor to move properly. Okay, so another project I did. This is the command table. This is what I use to get consistent movement. Then I have the time curves, which is also similar to the command table, but just a little bit different. Obviously, I can stop my motor whenever I want, and then this is just making my motor go back and forth in different movements. But to go to the project that I've used, it's called Laser. Okay, so here you can see it looks a little different from the last one. You have the input. I have the local I 1.00 data. And the way I did this is if I go to my controller tags and I go to input laser, boom, go down, edit tags, you can see that this is an alias tag, okay? So when I typed in input laser, I made this an alias for that same local tag that I just talked about that helps see when the project is going from false to true, okay? So I made this an alias tag. This is a base tag. So whenever I go back to my project, I can see that it's right underneath, so it knows it's connected directly to that. And then I added a description to let me know that when my hand is in front of this, this means that the laser is blocked. And the one-shot move just means that it's going to continue to do this one time. It's not going to spam over and over and over, because that will end up damaging the project. And then right here, I have my time curve. So this is, I'll show you here in the add-ons. Go down right here. So run time curve. This is a time curve project that I did. I'll show you this in Linmont. This is the simplest way I figured out how to get the motor to move back and forth really quick. And as you see here, first thing I had to do was create a new tag. Then I added to the scope of the controller. Then of course, Lin axis. This is what my axis was that I created right over here. As you can see here, boom. When I created my original axis, I named it Lin axis. So from going forward, whenever I want to make something move, whenever I want to make the linear motor move, I had to connect the same thing to the Lin axis. So that's why I typed in Lin axis here. Curve ID, I'll show you that in a second. Curve offset, and then these are just the speeds at which it's going. So whenever I put my hand in front of the laser, this reads on, goes here, and it executes this ladder right here, this ladder logic right here. And this ladder logic is that forward and back movement. That's really quick. So I'll show you how that works right here. I'm going to drag this over here so you can still see it. I'm going to open Linmont. Okay. Linmont is the brand that, or the company that supplied the motor. Okay. First thing we're going to do is going to file. We're going to open our login. Boom. Let's go to the magnetic coil settings. This is the most updated one. Boom. You see it's reading all the parameters, reading all my command tables and everything. So you can see that I have a slot for the linear and the rotary motors. Okay. Right now we're not using the rotary, so I'm going to ignore that for now. I'm going to drop this down. I'm going to head to the control panel. So as you can see, I have the operation enabled right now. So if I drag this down over here, I go to main routine. This is where I do all my switching on and off and stuff. So as you can see, this is enabled right now. The switch on. This is why right here it's showing that I have it switched on. So if I untoggle this, since I'm in run mode, toggle this again, boom, now the switch is off. Okay. So I'll turn the switch off for a second. Go back over here, and I'm going to show you what my time curve looks like and why this is able to work. So I'll go to here. This is where the curves, this is where time curves are. I have the rising movement, which is when it shoots up really quick, and obviously the falling movement is when it shoots backwards, mimicking the motion that I've showed in the video where it shoots out quick, pushes that box off. And then I have the join curve, so the movement altogether. And as you can see, the movement altogether curve ID is 3. Okay. So like I said, when I went here, the curve ID is 3. If I were to put a 1, the only thing my motor would do would just shoot forward. And if I were to put a 2, my motor wouldn't do anything because it's already in the same position. But when I put 3, the motor executes both of these, 1 and 2. And this is how I got that machine to push back and forward. Okay, so kind of show you an example of what this looks like. Go here, go to my main routine again, because this is where I do all the switching. So if I untoggle this, and I toggle this, you can see the switch just turned on. Okay, I go down, I home my devices, boom. You can see that you got a little bit of movement right there, and now it knows that the operation is ready to go. Okay, so let's just do my time curve so I can kind of show you what that moves like. Okay, so I'm gonna go here, time curve on, boom. See how that just moved back and forth once. Okay. I also can stop the movement. Boom. Even if I want to go here, start this over, I can switch it off whenever I want as well. So all this stuff is really cool. Add-on instructions can help you move your motor. I switched it back on. Now I can show you what it looks like to when I put my hand in front of the laser. Okay. So go here. I toggle the bit. I homed it. So now the operation is enabled. I'll go back to my laser. And so whenever my hand is in front of the laser, you should see the actual position and demand position move really quickly. And it's because executing that time curve that I talked about before. So if I go over here, put my hand in front, boom, you can see it move. Put my hand in front, you can see it move again, and then third time, boom. So I guess this is really cool way to make a project, and this is how I got my photoelectric sensor to work in the Studio 5000. I'm gonna make a new video talking more about Linmont and how this new Linmont Talk 6.12 helped me move all my motors in also different ways other than just the time curve. So hope you enjoyed the video, and thank you for watching.